Hey everybody, Roger Sullivan here, and I am here with Franco Urbaez, and we're going to talk to you today about social media marketing. Franco, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to talk with me tonight.
Roger, thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate this. This is really cool what you're doing.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. This is a chapter in the book, a course on making money, social media marketing that just seems to be on fire right now. There are a lot of people in the space that are getting started and doing well. Others not so much. And
Yeah.
hopefully we can talk a little bit about that, and maybe I know that you've been doing this for a while and have stepped on a few landmines, but you've learned where most of those are and how to avoid those. So hopefully we can talk about that a little bit. So to just get started, Franco, can you explain to those of us watching exactly what social media marketing is?
Yeah, that's a very good question because, and I kind of take it for granted because, we're in a day in and day out and stuff, but explaining it to other people who may not have any idea of what that even means, like I don't necessarily do that too often. So I give it my best, but essentially, social media marketing is, well, look, so a business has a service and a product that they have a target audience that needs that service or product, even if they don't even know it, right? And so in the 21st century, now with everything being online, you have like a phone that is like the smartest computer that, we ever even have essentially in our pockets. We have the ability now with social media to reach the masses, right? And at a fraction of the cost of what it would otherwise cost for you to do the same thing. So traditional marketing, right? Your billboards, your magazines, your publications, PR, commercials, and different things like that could also reach the masses, but it was never really targeted to your exact specific ideal customer avatar, the person that needs your product and service. With social media marketing, we can do just that. Not only can we do just that and target only those people, so we're saving money there, but we can target a lot of them with a fraction of the cost of traditional marketing. So social media marketing is huge right now for businesses that are budget conscious, to make sure that they're actually spending their dollars where it's going to be the most effective, bang for their buck, right? So that's what I would say social media marketing is.
Perfect. It includes all these different platforms. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, it can kind of get really overwhelming, right? I mean, you're talking about Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and Messenger and all this stuff. Some of us barely understand how to handle our Facebook feed, and a new something comes out, and you're like, a snap, what? How did you get started in this, and what kind of training, if any, did you have to be able to, I mean, call yourself a social media marketer where you have to handle all of this stuff?
To be honest with you, it's not as difficult as it sounds, to be quite honest with you. And to, traditional businesses, right? If you think of like, if you're going to be making money online, that's why I love what you're doing, because you're saying like how you can actually be making money online, right? Utilizing technology we have today to be able to generate an income from anywhere in the world. You're in Beijing, China right now, right? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy cool. And you're traveling and all that stuff, whatever. And you can do that because you're not tied to a brick and mortar, like check in, check out type of job, essentially, right? But
Right.
even if you were an entrepreneur and you were starting up your own business, when you are tied down to a brick and mortar store, when you have like all these other things, you have rules and regulations and compliance and different things, and government oversight and all these different things that are hindrances to actually being successful in that. Like, so it really takes a lot more skill and a lot more talent, a lot more hard work and grit to get a business like that off the ground than it does digital marketing. Digital marketing, I believe, is the easiest and fastest way to make a boatload of cash, with the least amount of time, effort, and energy, that like output from you, essentially.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm trying to go back to your question. Like that was a preface to the question, but the question is like, how did I get started in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that, I was working at a full-time job at this company called Uline, right, a $4 billion like organization and stuff, and they hired me. Previous to that, I had two other businesses, a trucking company and a real estate investment firm. Still good, still going good. I'm a very big systems and processes guy. Build the business, systemize it, automate it, and stuff like that, and then extract the profits and the benefits from it, right? But when I realized, like, the very first way that I saw it was I had a Facebook, and this guy who was a prominent social media marketer, his name is Ty Lopez. You may have heard of him. His name is Ty Lopez. He did a Facebook ad, and on that scrolled up, and I was like, what is this? I watched a quick video, clicked on the learn more button, took me to a what's called a funnel, right, which is a landing page where it's like a website, but it doesn't have all these buttons. It's literally one call to action, one video, watch this thing, give me your name and email, and then watch this webinar, right? So I'm sitting on the webinar, and I'm like watching this stuff. And I remember telling my wife, I was like, baby, I got to do this thing. It's my first ever webinar. I had no idea what that was. Now I have a webinar agency, right? So I had no idea. What that was. So I was telling my wife, baby, I got to watch this thing, right? And I was working at that time 9 to 9. And I told her, like, I got to watch this thing and like all these different things. And he started, like, she's in the background. He's like flaunting the cars and the women and like all that stuff, whatever. Not my jazz. But I'm still watching this stuff, learning a lot. But I was making fun of him at the time. I was making fun of him, and I was like, because I was like, this guy this is a scam and blah, 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 and all these different things. Comes out to like an hour long. Like, I'm completely convinced that I'm like, oh man, what he does and what he just taught me is not only true, I believe that I can do it, right? I believe that I can do it, and I believe that it'd be easy. So I purchased a course for $1,000, and then I was blown away by the value of what I was learning. I was like, oh my gosh. And every single day as I went back to work, it was like I was going back into a prison, going back into a prison, because I was learning at home. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much potential. There's so much, like, it's just like opened my eyes to a brand new world. And then I was like, I don't know, probably 10, 12 videos into it and stuff like that. Literally it took me like 2 weeks, and I was done, and I decided to quit my job, and then I went out to do this full time, right? And then that's when I hit a couple of the landmines that you were talking about earlier. But that's how I got my start, essentially, into digital marketing.
And we are not by any means advocating somebody to quit their job. I mean, you had some entrepreneurial background. I mean, you understood, and I'm sure that you had other, safety things, but we are in no means saying quit your job and go do something. This is, being able to, start something, on the side. That being said, let's talk about money. So now you've been doing this for 2 years, and I know that you have enjoyed quite a bit of success. But let's go back to the first 6 months, a year. I know that you said that you went out and you started before you finished the training, and you ended up losing a bunch of money, figuring out what didn't work, and I know there's a bunch of resources out there. I think that you even have some that we'll actually include in our resource center that can help people avoid some of those pitfalls. But let's talk about money. So for somebody who's just getting started, who might be looking at, gosh, I'm looking at something that I want to start, and I just need to make, a couple extra $100 a month or $1,000 extra a month. What kind of money could somebody expect to make in the first, 6 to 12 months, and then, and then beyond, based on really also, I guess, let's put that into context of how much time it would take to, earn that kind of money.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Now, it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say because if it depends on the person, right? And how willing they are to become an expert at a skill set, right? And that's where I would direct everybody to start off first, right? Like, become an expert at a particular skill set that solves a big problem for these businesses. If you can bring them leads, if you know how to run Facebook ads, if you know how to do like one thing, to do copywriting for them, do a blog, set up a podcast for them, like whatever it is, if you know how to do one thing for them really, really well, right, then they will pay you for that service. And because you are going to be less expensive for them than them hiring an in-person employee to do that same thing that they know they need, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think of it that way, you can realize, like, look, if I charge a business $1,000 a month, okay, that's for them, that's $12,000 expense a year, right? And so $12,000 for them is absolutely nothing. Like, who gets paid $12,000 a year, right? Like, they would. So that is one thing. That now the other part of it is if you had several of those clients, say you had 3 or 4 or 5, right? Now you're at $5,000 a month. Okay. And you have 5 clients essentially. So you've replaced your full-time job, but now it's on your terms, right? Now I'm not saying to replace that. And again, like I am, so my whole concept just for the camera and stuff like that for Roger too, is like my whole concept is big dreamers and stuff like that. And I encourage entrepreneurs to get out and like start their own business and stuff. So you'll hear a lot of that from me, but again, I'm not encouraging you to quit your job or anything like that. However, that being said, if you want to live the life of your dreams, you know what I mean? Like, and not, you know, and work on your terms and be able to travel and have that extra money, you know what I mean, just to put aside to pay for a car payment or to pay for a mortgage, like even $1,000 or $500 a month is a big deal for a lot of people, right? That's really, really easy to do in digital marketing. That is really, really easy to do. But realistically, my first year, my first year, I was probably around $50,000 a year. And then from there, we just kept doubling our revenue and stuff. So, you know, got to $117,000 a year and so on and so forth based off of, and now we've capped our agency at about $30,000 a month right now. So
Wow.
it's easy to do once you know, and that's with going about 8 months in the first year of like failure because I was doing all the wrong things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once you know exactly what to do, right, and then you just have the ambition and the desire and, you know, the grit to actually go out and get out of your comfort zone and do those things, then I think anybody with the proper training can really be successful. $5,000 a month is a piece of cake. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like so. There's a really good piece of a nugget that's in there that I just kind of wanted to expand on. Is really because we've talked about social media marketing being so encompassing in this big, huge thing. But you said, you know, to find one thing to start that you're good at, that you can charge. If you can write a blog, if you know how to generate leads, if you know how to do a great Facebook post, if you know how to grow a following, you know, you've got an Instagram for your dog that's got 10,000 followers. You know, that's a skill that a business will pay for, and you don't have to start off knowing everything, right? It's just start on one thing that you're good at and create a clientele on that, and then from there you can expand into other things, right?
Exactly, and 100%. So, and to elaborate on that point, as the entrepreneur, if you are looking to start up a digital marketing agency, you want to know a little bit about a lot of different things, enough to be able to gauge or measure the results of the people who are actually going to be doing that thing for you. I always say, like, if you're starting out, become the person that knows the skill set well enough that you could step away and be able to supervise somebody else up to your, you know, and grow them up to your standard of excellence, right? At that point, then essentially you have somebody else working on the actual content while you go in and manage the business and stuff. But yeah, I surround myself with my team are experts at their craft. Okay. So what I'm telling you to do is like find one skill set. Let's say it's, let's just say Facebook ads. So you are really, really good at Facebook ads and you really know that. It doesn't matter if you know about Snapchat or LinkedIn or Google SEO or PPC or website building or design, graphic design or copywriting. It doesn't matter any of that stuff, right? If you know how to generate leads for a business and that's your specialty, right? So once you do that, okay, then you go to businesses who actually need that service. Because why? Specialists make more money than generalists do. Right? So when you're a specialist at something, when you're an expert and you can say that you are an expert at this thing, you know that thing inside and out, then people will, because of the confidence that exudes from you and like the person and the conversation that you have and like you answer the questions because you know it, right? If you ask, you know, like if they're asking you about all these different things, whatever like that, like you're going to try to make up answers and all these different things because you're not an expert at that stuff. And that's going to show, and you're not going to get that client. You're not going to close that client. But if you zone in on the people who need your actual product or service and you zone in and you actually provide that to them and you can speak confidently about what you know, then that's a very, very high in demand skill set that you have that people will pay a lot of money for. Specialists make more money.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying that a bit. So, Franco, so you've been going at this for about 2 years now. So what does Franco, what do you know today that you wish you knew 2 years ago when you quit your job and got started?
He's doing you a favor because he's asking for, like, and I'm going to give it to you, but he's asking for like, hey, let's go through this without all the mistakes that I made, right? Like if I could go back in time and speak to myself like 2 years ago and say like, look, you're going to do all this crap and it's going to make you lose a lot of money and stuff like that. I don't want you to do it, right? Even though it feels right. It feels like you should, don't, okay? This is what I would say. The first thing is grow, okay, become an expert at that skill set, but become well known for that skill set, okay? There is no correlation between you making a lot of money and being good at what you do, right? The correlation becomes you making a lot of money by people knowing that you're good at what you do, right?
Wow, that's good.
So people have to know that you're good at that thing, right? So this is what I would say, and I'm just gonna like dish it all out. I'm just gonna like boom, 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 and if you guys just take what I'm saying and believe there's a story behind it, and just cement it into your brain and just say like, if I choose to go this route out of all the chapters and all that stuff, if I choose to start up a digital marketing agency, I'm gonna do these things. I can't guarantee things, right? But you will be successful. I'm telling you. Okay, this is what I would do. So first thing is become the expert, right? Become the expert of that skill set. Second thing is let everybody know it. Okay, so your social media profiles, like everything that you are doing to have your online presence, let everything tie back down. You do not do everything for everybody. You tie everything back to the one thing that you know how to do, right? And you become the best in the world at that, and you let everybody know. Okay. So that's that. And then I would offer extreme values, just like help people with the thing that you know how to do, because you're starting off the ground, right? Just help as many people that have questions in your Facebook groups or like wherever you are, like whatever you're doing, like local business or whatever like that. People have questions. They don't know what you know, right? Because you are the expert. So when you help them and you just say it nonchalantly and just saying like, well, this is what it is, and this is this, and this is this, and you just answer those questions, you become the expert in their eyes, and then you become an ace up their sleeve, so that whenever they're having conversations with people, oh yeah, I have a marketing guy, let me connect you with blah, 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 blah. Your network is going to blow up, okay? And people are going to come to you, okay? And that's the thing. No cold calling, no door-to-door sales, don't run any paid traffic, yet to start off your agency, any of that, okay? Use your network, use exactly what I'm telling you to do. And then when you're providing help to these people, at the end of it, now this is what I'm asking you out of your comfort zone, at the end of it, ask for video testimonials. If I've helped you, if this was of value to you, if this was, super helpful for you, what would be really, really, really helpful for me? Because I'm trying to get my business off the ground. If you could do a video testimonial, it doesn't matter. It could be 15 seconds, it could be 30 seconds. They'll go over and above and beyond for you. And then what you'll have is a bunch of video testimonials, right? And people think, this is the false belief, people think that in order to get a testimonial, you have to get results for somebody. Not true, right? The way you get video testimonial is asking for somebody for it and saying like, yeah, I had a conversation with him. This guy knows digital marketing inside out. This guy knows Facebook ads inside out. This guy helped me with my website. This guy did this, whatever. And then when you put all of those video testimonials everywhere, like literally I have on my pages so many video testimonials that there's no way that people would have to wait. People would have to waste 40 minutes of their time just going through my video testimonials. They're not going to watch it. It's just social proof, right? Yeah. That just says, wow, Franco is the guy. Franco's the guy to talk to. Franco's the guy to talk to, right? And they might watch one or two and it just gets better and better and better, right? And then they're like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? They are selling themselves. They're closing themselves. You don't have to do the hard work. When you approach a business by cold calling them or by knocking on their door, like you're stepping inside of their business in spite of a no solicitation sign, when you're doing that, you are starting off at a severe disadvantage. I'm a chess player, right? So what that's like is like starting your chess match and the opponent is your prospect, right? It's like starting a chess match without your bishops or your knights, right? Or without your queen and hoping to win the match because you're such a severe disadvantage. They don't know you from anybody else. You just bothered them. Yeah. You came at the most inopportune time, right? But when you switch the tables and everybody knows and they say, okay, I need this product and service, who's the guy to go to? Well, Franco is, right? Boom, 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 boom. Now they come here. Oh, Franco, how do I get a hold of this guy? Oh, check out my landing page or something like that. Oh, let me just go through all these 40 video testimonials about how awesome this guy is. And then they call you, they get on the phone with you. They're already closed. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to give them case studies or anything like that. They just say, yeah, I want to work with you, Franco. I've been following you. I've been blah, blah, blah. So build up that personal brand, build up that video testimonials, have that like as a vault where people can see screenshots, reviews, video testimonials, all that stuff, and let other people hype you up, right? Because when you do that, when the person gets on the phone with you, gets on a call with you, they're like almost awestruck. They're like, wow, this guy is like he's helped me so much. But you have to, that doesn't happen unless you become that expert, right? So that's the foundation. That's the framework. You have to become that expert first, so that you can deliver the knowledge that people will be like when they talk to you, right? So you have to like live up to the hype, if you will. Okay. So that's what I would say is focus. And yeah, that's essentially what I would go back in time. And that would probably save me probably like tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
Awesome. Well, Franco, I just want to wrap. I want to wrap things up, and I want to thank you. But before we do, I want to, if there's one piece of, I know you just gave like huge like what you should do, but what's one piece of advice? Where should someone start? What's the one thing that somebody should do if they're looking at social media marketing? What's one piece of advice? Where would you say for people to go to actually to get started to get on this journey?
I'll give you two.
Okay.
I'll give you two. The first, and the only reason I'm going to give you two is because the first is self-serving, and I don't want it to appear that way. But I've created something. I've created the SMA Success Secrets Masterclass course that's in the Resource Center. So I think, honestly, that if you want to start up a digital marketing agency the right way, that's the way to go, right? So check out that webinar, check out that course, because I explained everything I just did in like extreme detail in like a 2-hour masterclass. So you can check that out. But the second thing is, for me, the biggest, and you said you were drinking the Russell Kool-Aid right now, right? The biggest thing that I've done in my business that actually like got me from failure to success is investing in my own personal growth in my coaching, right? So I joined Russell Brunson's 2 Comma Club X coaching program, and I dish out a lot of money and stuff like that to learn it, but the ROI was incredible and stuff like that, because we stand on the shoulders of giants. Like almost no one has an original thought anymore. It's all been taught by somebody else. So you can either walk out the mistakes yourself, or you can learn from the mistakes of others, right? And when you learn from the mistakes of others and you just go off of like, that's their ceiling, that becomes your floor, right? So when you have that floor, like somebody's already here and you have that as your floor, right? Then it's like a launch pad, right? So it's either, because you're going to pay for it either way. You're going to either pay for it with your time, or you're going to pay for it with your money, right? And for me, my time is more valuable than my money. So I like to have the shortcuts to success instead of, going through the mistakes and stuff like that you will inevitably go through if you have all those blind spots, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my investing in your own personal growth is what I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Franco. Well, I know that you've got a really early morning tomorrow, or you're heading off to a conference really early, and it's getting kind of late there. Thanks for spending some time and sharing some knowledge with my audience. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Roger. This is really, really cool what you're doing. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.